Hi, Guillaume.
Hi, Nutan.
Hi, this is Guillaume Malod from Paris speaking with us about the lockdown and his stories. So, how when you first realized that there is going to be this lockdown and all our usual business is going to end, what was your reaction?
I think it felt pretty normal, even though it was quite sudden in France, because we had an election and they decided to keep it. And so we did the election, everybody was out. And then a few days later, it was already lockdown. So the message was very strange. It was safe to do the election, but then we were not allowed to go around a lot. But at the same time, because we were seeing what was happening everywhere in the world, in Italy, for example, in Europe, Italy started before. So I don't think we were very surprised, and we all got used to it very quickly.
And when the university closed, were you all teaching? What part of the semester was going on that time for you?
So we were in the middle of the semester, so we had it started. Actually, it's worse than that because we had a lot of strikes because the French government is changing the pension system. So we had some demonstration and strikes. Actually, my class, I was teaching my class. I was not completely on strike, but I was doing reversed classroom where I asked the students to read the class notes and then we talk about them and we would also talk about the pension system and social justice or whatever. And actually, even for the students, the situation was already not completely normal. And then after that came the lockdown. So I think they had a strange semester.
But I find this very interesting. So students are open about discussing things like a strike, or is this something all instructors don't usually do, or it's something you took the initiative for? Or
So it's not everyone at all. So we were a small group of professors, and we were wondering what we could do. And it's very hard to decide just by yourself that you will go on strike and not teach, especially for the students. You feel like what's going to happen to them. So we were talking about what we could do, and I thought I could do things, and some other people did the same. One is talk about these a little bit about politics, even though usually we don't. And you're right that some students were not comfortable. So of course we said you are free to leave, and this will, of course, there will be no penalty for students who decide not to participate to that discussion. And then I use this as an excuse to try this reverse teaching mode that I read about but never tried. And I think it can work for this. I'm teaching, it was a class for discrete mathematics and it could work reasonably well for that. I think maybe for other subjects in math, it might not work as well because, I mean, I think it would work well, but you cannot go as fast. So if you have a set curriculum and people the next expect the students to already know different things, and it might not work. But for in this discrete math class, we have quite a lot of freedom on the subjects we can explain. So it's okay to go slower and talk more with the students. So it worked quite well.
and so now, when the lockdown started, then your teaching method changed, or you continued with this flip mode?
I tried continuing with the flip mode for a couple of sessions, but remotely with the online classes, it didn't work as well because the point is really to get them to be more active and it's harder for them behind the computer. So we went back to a more traditional teaching where I would go through the class notes with them and try to explain the difficult points. Even though it was a bit hard because I don't have any equipment yet, so I don't have a tablet to write quickly some more explanations than what's on the slides. So I think that was it worked okay, but I probably went too fast for the students after the lockdown started.
Mhm. And now the semester has ended, evaluations, etc. done.
The semester has ended and we are in the middle of evaluations. There's still a few evaluations, I think until the end of next week, basically, or middle of next week. Yes.
And how did you conduct the exams during this time? Was there a different pattern?
So I have another class where I don't I'm just responsible for the testing, and they have to do conferences. And for this, it was easy because we usually test them with a multiple choice exam, and so we did it online and tried to make it so it's a little bit harder to cheat, but it doesn't matter so much. For the class I was teaching on discrete math, it's a bit harder, so I didn't make a real exam. What we did was we had a few home assignments that where they had 4 or 5 hours to answer questions and take pictures or scan them and send me the results. Of course, they can get together and collaborate, and I mean, we can't control anything, but there's not so much we can do, and it would be sad to just ask multiple choice questions on a real math subject. I don't know. So
Yeah, I think during this time everybody is saying that okay, let's do whatever we can rather than just throw up your hands in the air and do nothing kind of. And do you think this lockdown is also affecting your research in any way, or is this that's something that does not change so much?
no, it does change because it's first we don't have the frequent discussions with my colleagues, especially Hervé and PhD students. So that's missing, and also just the I can reasonably concentrate on teaching assignments and preparing, but I think the focus for research is much harder to get at home,
Yeah.
and also I actually have less time because we have to teach kids. We do morning school because the kids don't go to school, and then we have to go shopping more and spend more time for cooking food and things like that. So time is a bit less. We had to get used to the online tools for remote teaching. So research, I think, has taken quite a hit.
Hmm. And so in France now, you were saying that things are slowly opening up. So does this seem like, so do you see where, by when you will be kind of going back to work, or is there a clear understanding about this?
There is no clear understanding yet. For the moment, we need to ask if we want to go back to the office, and they strongly suggest that you're not supposed to go back every day, so you maybe ask for 1 day a week. And I think it'll be like that until the summer, and maybe in September it might change a little bit, but I don't see anything changing before that. But we have no clear message yet about what's going to happen
Yeah.
at university.
Do you think overall this will affect theoretical computer science, say in France, or do you have some vibes about how others are feeling about this? Or
I don't. I don't. So I know it's the same for a few of my colleagues. I don't know otherwise at a more global level how it will affect. There's a slightly positive aspect uh, in that there was already online seminars that you could join even before the lockdown. But I think people will because that's the only thing now, people will maybe keep going afterwards, so that there might be online seminars with more people from all around the world joining a little bit. But that, I don't think that compensates everything that's missing, like really meeting people and talking in front of a blackboard is not the same. So
and do you see theoretical computer scientists contributing in any way in the current situation? In the sense, of course, we are not experts in epidemiology or any of that, but do we play any role? Do we have any, you know, place in this?
yes, I haven't seen precisely anything. I could imagine that some people who study properties of networks or propagation, things like that, even though originally it's not epidemiology, obvious links. So I imagine some things like that. I think also people from the um, maybe more machine learning, which is getting applied to everything. They've been doing things like can we detect just with the symptoms, or when someone has been infected or things like that. But in really theoretical computer science, I don't know if I've seen anything really.
And how about conferences and so on? Had you planned for some conference attending and so on?
So I haven't planned exactly yet. I think we have a paper submitted to a conference that decided to go purely online. So we'll see how that works. And there's a few maybe online workshops that I kind of I kept the link and thought maybe I'll have to try and follow or listen. So that's another thing. There will be a lot of online conferences. So um, we might actually get to listen to more talks than usually, but I'll see. I, I'm thinking, oh, I will do this, I will do this, but when it happens, maybe I won't listen to as many talks as I think I might. So
Yeah, I mean, if you're not physically there, sometimes this listening to talks, it just becomes sort of I get just disconnected at some point during the talk. And but yeah, I guess we need to get used to something like this now if we are to attend more talks this way. And you said you have PhD students. How is he or she managing through this, or you've been able to keep in touch?
we've been able to keep in touch, but she also finds it very difficult to work and concentrate with this situation. So I think, yeah, I hope they might be. I think they've started talking about it, but maybe there'll be more understanding on the overall of the PhD and extending a few of these PhD scholarships for 6 months, like that, to take into account the situation of students like that.
In France, all PhD students are on the state funding, or is it project funding from the advisor?
It, a lot of it is state funding. I mean, in mathematics,
Yeah.
it will be very different elsewhere, but a lot of it is state funding. Then sometimes, of course, if if people have European projects or things like that, then or INR, the French Science Foundation, then you get project funding. And then there's a number of public-private funding where a company and the state both fund at the same time a PhD student, and
Okay.
happens in theoretical computer science sometimes.
So, do you have like some generic advice for people to cope with this current change, or for students in specific, or your
I
tip?
I think for students it's a bit the same as for us in some sense, but we may have a less it's more natural because we have kids. Then we kind of have to make a rhythm, establish some kind of rhythm every day. So it's okay in the morning we'll do homework, and then if we've done this, then for us it's easier to think, okay, then afternoon I'm gonna work. And we also decided we would go shopping on Tuesdays and Fridays only, things like that. So if you're by yourself, it's harder. So it's easy for students to just. I mean, I remember when I was a student, maybe you'll start waking up at 2 in the afternoon and things like that. But and that's actually fine. But the point would be to still have some kind of rhythm, like decide, okay, these 2 hours, these 3 hours, I'm going to spend them studying or things like that. Otherwise, things just time stretches a little bit with the lockdown, and you push things further, and nothing happens.
Yeah. And I'm slightly curious about the two paintings behind you. Are they supposed to represent something? Or...
They're woodblock prints from Japan. So when we were in Japan last year, I discovered this kind of prints, and specifically this artist. And so I'm trying to, when I have time, I look at auctions and bid to buy some of these.
They look really beautiful. Yeah, so I think it was really nice catching up with you. I mean, I was just going through some photos from long ago when I was in Paris, and I think a couple of those summers were like so good. We proved interesting things, we had fun, and also Paris was wonderful. So hoping for maybe, hopefully soon we get together again and discuss some computer science.
I hope so too, yes.
So you stay well, and my best regards to your wife and Yuki and Naoto. Take care.
Thank you, take care.